And we are live. Hey guys, this is Ruben from Dubb's podcast, Connection Loop. And today I have with me Helene Rennervik. And Helene Rennervik comes to us from Stockholm, Sweden. And today we're going to get into a couple of topics. We started to talk about this idea of, business coaching and sort of how to improve our business lives. And then we kind of realized that there was a much bigger topic here, which is really about self-awareness and how to overcome some really interesting challenges. Helen, I'd love to understand your journey and really what you've gone through and some of the things that you've learned. I know that you've written a book. I know that you are, as your title says, you are the mistress of buried treasures, which is a very cool title, probably the coolest I've ever heard. But I'd love to hear your take on this.
So, where do you want to start?
I want to start from the beginning. I want to start from your origin story. What would you say is where you really became Helene Rennervik?
I think life is a journey, and we grow. I believe we grow every day, and that's how we collect all these pieces. So I don't think that I'm just Helen now. I will grow more. I mean, that's what I love to do. I aspire that for others and also for myself. So my story started, I'm born and brought up here in Sweden, and I lived here until I was 16. And then I moved to Denmark and I lived there. And then on from there, I moved to London, and that's where I studied and became an interior designer. And I love interior design. And as life is, things happen, you can choose that. That was my passion, and it's still my passion. But then all of a sudden, I was offered a job with a big company, and that sounded so interesting in events, promotions, and that's where I joined. And little did I know that I was going to be there for 15 years. And again, I loved what I learned there, and I really grew in that job. And I did well, obviously, if I grew, to different position, and I stayed in it for 15 years. And during that time, I got married. I got married before I joined there, and I had 4 children during that time. And then all of a sudden, I felt like, what am I doing? I'm just working and this and whatever. Everything was planned. I was very organized and this, but I felt like this is not really what I'm supposed to do. And when I left the company I was with them, they were really good. They gave me a coach. And then all of a sudden I had to find out, who am I? What do I want to do? And then, I started to do more of the colors, the pattern, the texture, and all these things. And that's what I thought also I wanted to do. But at the same time, I've always loved to do sports, and this, I ventured into that too. And nutrition, that's also something, food and everything. So I explored a little bit there and stayed in fitness and health for 5 years. And then, boom, something really unexpected happened to my youngest son in 2015. Something I could never imagine would happen to me. He broke his leg, and that was really hard. I had to change everything, him going to school, this, whatever. But that wasn't it. Then 3 weeks in, he had fallen again, and he broke his leg again. A broken leg. I mean, have you ever heard a broken leg and you break it again? And that's when we heard that your son has got cancer. And, I still, when I say that now, it's like, it's hard. It's hard. But nothing will, throw you down on the floor if you don't want to. And it was a lot of overwhelm and everything when I heard it. But I decided at that time, I'm going to take hold of this. I'm going to make this the best of what I could make during that time. Of course, it's not easy. It's not anything easy when something like that happens. And, it's not just him. It was the 3 other kids. And we left. I was living in the Middle East for 25 years. And to leave Dubai, and then we went to Germany. We stayed in Germany for 3 months. And then I decided, okay, this is not just going to be a 3-month thing. It's 1 year or maybe more. And that's what we were talking about, the unknown. This is what is very hard. And that's what we are now. We are in the unknown. So, my book that I wrote after my son, he got through this. thank God. And it's taken a long time because it was not just that he went through the cancer. He also has a leg that he lost, but he has amazing thing. He has a prosthetic inside his leg that it needs to be extended, and that's what he's doing now. It's 5 years since this happened. He has grown. He's a teenager today, and even today he actually lengthened his leg. I mean, imagine you go into the hospital, his leg gets lengthened only a few millimeters, but he's growing. I mean, from he was 9 until 14, he has grown a lot. So now when we are in this time of unknown, which I lived through 1 year, 2 years, it's just to stay in the moment, to do the best you can during that time. And we have that choice. We can have the choice to be beaten and go and worry. But I couldn't do that. You know, even in the hospital, they were asking, are you working here? Because I tried to make the best thing every day, because I only had that time with my son. What if he would have died? You know, I didn't know. I mean, we actually don't know that at any time. You know, some people could die just like that. But when you're set, it was a wake-up call for me. I have got more time with my son. What am I going to do? Even if he's in the hospital for a year, what am I going to do? Be depressed and make him worse during that time? No. So that was a really big wake-up call for me. So that's why I'm telling people that let's reclaim those buried treasures that you have, because we all have that. I want them to be as inspired, and everyone has something inside of them. I have worked and I've done so much work on myself, inside myself, to be the person I am today. So yeah, there you have.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. That was really meaningful. Thank you for that. Tell me about buried treasures. What does that mean?
So we have to listen in. Like, I had these buried treasures inside of myself, but I didn't know they were there. And I have worked with a lot of people to help me take that out. Even when I was writing my book, I had no idea. How do you write a book? I have no idea. And I worked with Diane, who was my coach at that time, and she was able to bring all those things out, because I had not taken notes during the time when my son was sick, but they were all there inside of myself. You know, we can bury uncomfortable things, or we can have beautiful things. And it's just to be able to reach those things. And maybe we need to have other people help us, or, it could be in different way, self-reflections, or, just digging a little bit deeper. So that's how my book actually was born, from my buried treasures that were inside there.
And what would you say during that process your blind spots were?
Afterwards, actually, not during the time when I did my book, then I went away, but then I went back to Diane, and she has became my coach. I have always been a perfectionist. And during one of our calls, I was telling her about this amazing photographer, her work and this and whatever. And I was just going on. I'd just been to an exhibition. And she said, just hold one moment, Helen, I'm going to tell you something. And she was starting talking about a lady. And all of a sudden, I just broke down. I was just crying, because she was talking about me. I had been so hard about myself, to myself. I'd never said, Helen, you are enough. And it was so powerful. And these are the moments that I like to work with my clients too. I have no idea. I can't come into a session and bring my things with me. I go in, I strip off my thoughts, feelings, and emotion, and I'm there. And I listen, not just with my ears, with my eyes, with my heart. I listen to what they really say, because it could be something that is there now, or maybe they go further and further down to maybe they were 10, 7, whatever, maybe something. And that's when you start to, untangle all these things that are there. And so many beautiful things can come out of that. And that's, how you start to become, aware of yourself, of your thoughts, feelings, and emotion. And it's really important to be aware of that, just to stop, reflect.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what I think is most interesting about this conversation is this idea of self-awareness and this idea of really knowing ourselves, knowing the things that we've gone through, knowing our blind spots, um, and knowing that our mic was a little bit too far away from us and that we should actually pull it in. So I really appreciate your take on that. So one of the things that we talked about before we hit record was this idea of not being a victim. And I think a lot of people suffer from this idea of they become a victim. Something has happened to them, bad luck, something has changed in their environment. How relevant is that right now? Health, wealth, these types of issues. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's really difficult to not see yourself as a victim because it just looks like bad luck. And you look to your left and you look to your right, and people aren't dealing with the same things that you're dealing with. But I think a lot of that is about perspective, because when you look to your left and to your right, you don't necessarily see the problems that they're going through and the internal war that person might be struggling with. So it's very easy to play the victim card. How do you think that we can kind of avoid getting into that negative cycle so that we can ultimately, overcome those challenges?
Pause, and pause.
Hmm.
And sit down and reflect, every day. Something that is, people talk about journals, but journals can really, really help us. Stop in the end of the day, just write down 3 things that you are grateful for that day. Doesn't have to be big things. Maybe you smiled, or maybe somebody said something, or maybe you saw a beautiful flower outside, or you saw your children, if you have children, anything, it could be anything, but write 3 new things every day, because we always have. But that's the thing, we have to be aware. When we go outside, do we see things around ourselves? Do we smile to someone? If we smile to somebody, they might smile back to us. So, being in the moment, being aware of yourself, of your surrounding, and then reflect. Whenever I have a conversation, then afterwards, I take that moment and, reflect, because that's the only thing that is happening right now. You and I have a conversation. What can we take away from this? Because those become our memories. So we can choose that too. We can choose our memories. We can leave, the not so nice away, or look at them. Okay, what could I have done better here? With this, if it didn't turn out the way you wanted to. And the same thing in conversations. Listen to others, really listen to them and let them hear you. So there are tools that you can use, because you said, how can you know your blind spots? That's getting feedback from others. But again, that's only their point of view. So you have to ask people that you really trust, that you respect, and that they respect you and they want you to grow. Because if there's somebody who's just going, this wasn't so good, and also be open to that. Because if we want to learn, I could do this better, but there are also tools that you could use so you get aware of yourself. It's funny, I'm wearing this yellow shirt. So I'm an I style, and an I style is very, very talkative. But now when I'm here on your podcast or on your streaming, I have to also, I'm aware of that. I can talk and I can talk and I can talk, but I have to quiet that a little bit. So other people
and this is according to what? I'm sorry, you repeat that,
extended please. Disc. So extended disc is a self-awareness tool that you actually can know it's an assessment on your personality. So
is this like the Myers-Briggs?
Similar, yes, but
Okay.
Myers-Briggs is a different one. This is a different assessment. But just so you get a little bit more aware, because we are different styles. That's why some people like a lot of details. That's not me at all. And we are not just one style. We are different styles. And when we get to know this, then our communication will be much better. Also, if we know what the other person are. And this is how we can do at workplace, if everyone in the workplace know what they are. Because again, if we learn this when we are younger, then we probably choose our career out of that, because then we will work in our strength, which is much better. I do believe when we work in what our strengths are and encourage and build on those strengths, then we will become better. We will feel better and we will do better, instead of focusing on what we are not good at, because maybe that's not our natural behavior, that we can learn those things. So, when I was working as a country manager, I had to do a lot of analytical things, which doesn't come to me easily. I learned it, of course I learned it, but it's not natural for me. That's, something that takes more energy for me. So I became so tired. Now I know that. I know what I am best working in. So I use that. So when we all do that, when we learn, okay, this person might sound really abrupt and rude and this, no, it's just their style. So when we know that, then it's much easier to have a conversation and to communicate better.
Got it. So that's intriguing. I'm actually looking at the chart here for the extended disc. Yeah. And I think that on this chart on the top, it says task orientation. On the right, it's active. On the bottom, it's people orientation. And then on the left, it's reserved. So this is really interesting. So I think the takeaways for me, I want to understand this a little bit better, but the takeaways for me is that, knowing what our style is, but then knowing what other people's style is, I think is really beneficial for us, because then we can know ourselves and then know others, and as a result, be able to communicate better. Could you? And
you can imagine when a whole team is in there. So then we will get all the different on that. This is called the disc diamond. Then we will get all the dots there where they are, and then we can use them much better. And you will know your applied behavior, because you can also have your applied behavior, like me, I'm very I am I, little bit D and S, but I have no C. So when I was working in that kind of a job, I became very tired. I could learn that, because that's your skills you learn. So when we know this better, we will actually function better. And if companies use it for all their employees, it will be much more smooth, and they will get better results, and people will thrive better. And, at some times, like now, who do we need as a leader, that needs to come in now? Maybe that is a D style, because we need to take short, quick decisions. It doesn't mean that somebody is better than somebody else. It's just when we apply these different things at the, best times.
Got it.
It's a great tool.
Now, one of the things that makes me feel uncomfortable about some of these types of programs like this, and the Myers-Briggs, and the right brain, the classic right brain, left brain. There's a bunch of these. I like these, and I take them whenever I can. But one of the things that I have kind of pause on with these is this idea of, if we're in a certain mood, or if we're in a certain stage in our life at a certain time, we might actually take on a different sort of personality type, as a result of our surroundings and maybe our goals, right? Whereas, at a later stage, in a later time, in a later set of circumstances, maybe potentially we can sort of evolve to a different place, or maybe transpose to a different type of being or personality. So I get a little concerned about getting locked into this. Like if I say I'm, X on this chart, I don't want to have this self prophecy where I'm always X, and then other people see me as X, and then if they need Y, that I'm not the right person. Rather, I personally like to take on this idea of being dynamic and evolving and sort of coexisting with all of these, knowing that I have certain strengths and weaknesses. But final statement here on this is that, if I know that I'm weak at a certain thing, that's where I like to personally invest more of my time, so that I can evolve, so that I can be truly kind of holistic. What is your take on that?
So this one that you looked at is exactly that. It goes into the little more holistic side. So it's just you just are certain things, but then also your values. When you cannot just look at your strength and these things. What are your values? Because this makes us all different. We all have different values. What is your core value? And two people of the two styles could be looking at same thing, but then it comes to their core values, and that totally change. It totally change how that person is seen, because again, our values can change at certain time, because, like you said, we evolve, we learn more. And all of a sudden, maybe one thing isn't so important, like another thing is important. But, we could have several values. And if we only have to choose one, it's hard. But then we come down to our real core. What is
Yeah.
most important to you? So there's so many different ways of learning, and there's no right or wrong. It just is. And because I can't be good at everything. Because if I try to be good at everything, then I'm not going to be good at nothing.
Right.
That's my take. I try, like I said, I try to be that perfectionist and to do everything. It was so exhausting. It was really, really exhausting to try to be perfect.
Yeah.
Nobody is perfect. So
Right.
when you can just be yourself and be good at what you are good at, I believe you can excel in that. And that's what you have to find. What do I really enjoy doing? Where can I continue and continue and continue doing for hours? Because when we can do that, and some people might say, oh, that's just a hobby. But if that's what you're really good at, do it.
Yeah.
And, go into that, because then you won't give up.
Right. Exactly. And what was your process like, as running your firm now? What was your process? What was the aha moment that you sort of saw when you realized that this problem existed that you could solve?
So I live by questions, and that's something that you use as coaching tools too. But I live by them, and I don't go into an answer, and I use them all the time. If something is really hard, then okay, what else is possible here now? Or if it's really, really good, what else is possible? Then we will get more of that. Okay, what could I do now to make this better? Or if somebody say, what's wrong with you? Okay, what's right with me that I'm not getting? So using these questions on myself, that I also use with my clients, because I really don't know what will come up. I can never prepare a conversation. I can't. I just have to be there, be without all my thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and just be there, listen to them, and really listen to them. See, are they breathing? Okay, what's that? And silence. Silence is amazing.
Well, that's one of the magics, I think, of Beethoven. Actually, it's the silence, it's the in between notes, where the music comes to life, because that dramatic pause sometimes when you're just waiting for that next note to come.
I love that, in between.
Yeah, the in between, and I think that's really, really important. And I think a lot of us tend to, over speak or over communicate, or sometimes just overdo, without letting something natural or organic take place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things that we're really passionate about at Dubb is kind of sharing ways to use technology to share some of the stories that, for example, you've shared in this conversation. And I think what's really valuable, and the reason why I'm inspired by our conversation, is because you've really figured out a way to take your life and then to truly integrate it into your story. And then as a result, have a career from that, a successful career, which I think is really amazing, because a lot of people suffer from that. A lot of people can't find that integration. They have this world, which is, conflict, and then this, which is life, and then this, which is aspirations, and then this, which is family, and none of those things are connected. And I know I've suffered from that. I know it's very challenging to do that, to really find that integration. And I think that, during this time period right now, I think this is the true opportunity for us. This is the true way that we can turn this threat into an opportunity to find that integration, and to truly find that, holistic sense of self, I would say, as abstract as that might sound. So,
yeah, I do believe that too. It's, if we go out and see the nature and everything, I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
They are just living. They're continuing living. They are not being disrupted by what is going on. And maybe that's something what we have to learn, okay, what can we do now? Because whatever was there before is not going to be there in a week or a month or whatever. And that's scared. That's walking into the unknown. That is very scary for a lot of people, because they are used to, they want to have, everything around them outside. But that's why when you go deep inside you, so you feel secure in yourself, who you are. And you're not, it's like a tree, the roots just go down into the ground, and they won't, even if there's a storm, usually the roots are there. Or maybe the tree gets pulled out, but then it starts to grow again. So if we can do that ourselves, try to find this time that is now. And it's scary and it's this, but if we could just take a pause and see, okay, what am I, and know your feelings and know your emotions, because they are different, but to know them. Am I scared? Am I overwhelmed? Am I angry? Because anger could also come out there, and take hold of them, because this is actually a moment when you can maybe learn a lot about yourself and take that step forward, after. And this will go through, this will pass through. We are just going through a time that will take us to the next. And that's our choice. Will we take it to the next and do something different then?
Right.
So what are you going to show us? I'm interested to see.
Well, yeah. And what I'm going to show is how Dubb is used for personal storytelling, because I think that's my one takeaway from this conversation, is that the story is the thing that connects us to someone in such a visceral way. You said something which was really great. You said you can hear with your ears, but you can also hear with your eyes and your heart, And I think one of the things about video is that we can see those certain emotions when we connect with a person. Now, synchronous live video, Zoom, or this tool that we're using right now, these are very valuable for live videos. But one of the things that we've really tried to innovate on is asynchronous pre-recorded videos, so that we can capture our stories and we can convey them. So what does that mean? How do we capture our stories? Well, it really comes to I think a couple of things. Number one is, all of our laptops now have webcams. At least they should, right? So, with a webcam, it's very easy to record yourself and to record your story. Now, what we typically do, I think, is, when we go into an email, we'll start to write an email, and we'll start to write and type and type and type. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to express ourselves in a textual format. We're trying to come up with words to express ourselves. Writing is great. I write a lot. We should all write as much as we can. But the problem with writing, though, is that number one is it takes a lot of time. Okay. But number two is that the tone in which we write is not necessarily the tone in which people perceive. People read text in the way that they're feeling. So if they're upset, or if they're short for time, or if they're frustrated about something, and they're going to read something, they might actually construe negative ideas from that. They might see an exclamation point, and they might see, well, that sounds like sarcasm, or someone that's overeager, or something like this. So what we encourage people to do is to go get a free account on Dubb, get the Dubb Chrome extension, and then by doing so, what you do is you activate video throughout your pretty much your entire internet experience, right? So here I'm in Gmail right now, and what I can do is I can actually just record a video right here, right from my Gmail window. And when I record that, I'll just do one. Hey, it's Ruben. This is a test. I'll do that. I'll upload it. And then just within a couple of seconds, what I can do is a video is automatically created. The landing page is created. And all that I have to do is simply insert a thumbnail into the body of my email. Now, what happens if I didn't wait a couple of seconds, but if I wait a couple of seconds, what happens is that an automated GIF is automatically added. So within a couple of seconds, that image, this GIF image, starts to move. And this is just a way to have a 3-second little teaser of what the video is going to be. And then when someone clicks on this video, then they go to a landing page. And I'll just kind of show my landing page right here.
And that's all done in the program there?
Oh, this is all done with Dubb, and it all happens once you get your account set up. It happens instantaneously. So, some people send hundreds of videos every single week. I mean, we have a user that's now sent, in the thousands actually. So effectively, video has replaced email for a lot of people using Dubb. And then what happens on the video landing page is that you have all sorts of ways to add engagement. You have, calls to action buttons. You have, a calendar integration. If someone wants to book time in my calendar, a real-time chat through the Dubb mobile app, you can chat. I can receive.
But that's all on your platform.
This is all on Dubb.com. Yeah. So when you have,
everyone has their account there.
Yeah, you have to have a Dubb account to make this happen, but anyone can view this landing page. They don't have to have a Dubb account. They can just be someone out there in the world, and you can send them an email, and then they'll instantly receive this. It'll be your logo up here. It'll be your image here. And then they can watch this video, no sign-in required. But then, of course, if they want to pursue some calls to action, like clicking on a button, booking a time in your calendar, they can do all of that through your calendar page.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and then one of the things, you and I really connected on LinkedIn, and I think one of the things that we're really also psyched about is this idea of using Dubb as a tool to enhance your overall LinkedIn experience. So what that looks like, let's see if I can find you here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to send you a video message. Well, it seems like it's not working. I can't find you. But what I'll do is I'll just go to this person here, and I'll just click on the Dubb icon, and then the same experience is going to happen. I can record.
So if you have your account, then it will come up on the LinkedIn that you have that icon there.
Yes, exactly. So then you have a video integration into LinkedIn. So you can upload a video, you can add a video from YouTube that you might have. You can also get real-time activity reporting. So you can see if people are watching your videos, what percentage of the video that they're watching. This has some information on, 100% video view. So you can see what's happening actually on your video. So you can know if it's working. If you send a video to someone, if you send someone right now, if you send them a LinkedIn video, or if you send them a YouTube video, or if you send them an Instagram video, you're not going to know you're not going to know if they watched it, if they engaged with it. But B, once you send them to that page, you sent them to that ecosystem. Sending someone to a YouTube page, it's highly distracting. There's recommended videos, there's advertisements. There's a high chance that person is going to get lost into the YouTube ecosystem and not, be kept into your ecosystem. So we always recommend folks to kind of control that environment and to use Dubb, either videos that you upload to Dubb or create with Dubb, or to just import them from YouTube, which you can do on Dubb. So I hope that makes sense. One of the other things that Dubb has is a mobile app. So this is an example of a video that I actually created using the Dubb mobile app. And this is just an idea that I think what's interesting about the Dubb mobile app is that you can create multiple clips. So in this video, I have multiple clips that I was able to create in real time. Looks like I'm falling asleep in this video.
So you bring them in, or you bring them in there, or?
Great question. You're actually making them on the fly. So you're making them in real time. So with the Dubb mobile app, you can record one clip, stop, record another clip, stop, record another clip, stop, maybe flip the camera, import a video.
It's kind of a story.
It's a story, yeah.
Like
so it functions in a very similar way that Instagram stories or Snapchat. We were sort of inspired by some of those kind of modern social networks, which is why we created the Dubb mobile app to incorporate multiple clip development, but then also music and filters and text and emojis and a lot of fun stuff. So that's my couple minute demo on Dubb. That's probably just a fraction of what Dubb can do. I encourage you to check it out if you have some time. And I have
already signed up there, so I have to go and check it out.
Okay, cool.
I love making videos.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. And then I think one of the things that I was compelled by what you said actually before we went live on this video was this idea of video editing. And we love video editing for our YouTube show, The Daily Dubb on YouTube. There's a massive amounts of editing that goes into that and production value. We have such an amazing producer and director that kind of runs that, Shannon Leonard. But what the paradox of Dubb is that we actually empower people to not have to use video editing, and in fact, just record videos on the go. Turn that webcam on, do it through Gmail, do it through LinkedIn, do it through the Dubb website, record a webcam video and send it. Don't worry about the editing. There's a lot of different types of branding that can exist using Dubb. Your logo can appear. You can have calls to action. You can have captions automatically generated. Text captions get automatically generated. Just click of a button.
And subtitles.
Subtitles, yeah. You can import.
That's very good.
Yeah, subtitles. We have, I think, 20 or 20 plus languages, different languages on those videos. Yeah. So you can create those captions.
And it comes automatically when you speak.
It happens after the fact. So you mentioned Apple Clips. So the way that Apple Clips does it is that as you're recording, it's going to add text onto the video. We opted out of that technology, and the reason why is because you can't edit it. If it makes a mistake, you're kind of stuck with that.
You can edit a little bit, so.
A little bit? Okay, yeah. So what we decided to do was we decided to just, have the ability to generate captions by clicking this button. But then one of the things that you can do is you can download or upload the SRT file. So if I haven't done captions on this yet, so this is not appearing, but if I saw the download button here, then what I could do is I could download that file and then edit it and then make right away. I can edit it in real time. We're constantly finding words that our system misspelled. It actually misspells Dubb. So that was one of our first fixes. Yeah.
But you can correct it yourself in there.
Yeah, through our algorithm on the back end, we can make mass corrections. And we say.
But you said a person could also correct. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. A person can go in there, download the file, make edits, and then re-upload it. So it's a very streamlined process. And why do we need captions on those videos? Well, it's not just because sometimes people well, I'll say this. Most people have their audio off when they're watching video, especially on mobile. I think it's probably 50 to 80% have it off. So if we're talking and there's no audio, people have no idea what we're saying. So at least if the captions are there, we're gonna increase our comprehension rates.
No, I always put captions or subtitles on my video because I know there are some people that do not hear. And when I heard this, when one lady reached out and she said, "Thank you for putting subtitles." That's so important. I think, that we actually, cater for everyone.
Yeah, I think it's really important. We actually spent a lot of time working on this, and there's actually a lot of technology that goes into it. There's neural networks and machine learning and artificial intelligence, all sorts of fancy stuff that's basically just figuring out the words that we're speaking at, the cadence in which we're speaking them, and then to convert that into text into multiple languages. It's a process. It took us almost a year to develop that. We went through all sorts of changes and iterations, and we weren't really happy with the technology. And then finally we said, okay, this is ready to go. So now it's on Dubb. We're psyched about that.
Amazing.
Yeah. But I wanted to give you a chance to kind of tell folks where they can find you on LinkedIn or web address or Instagram or any kind of social channels where people can find you.
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn, Helene Rennervik, and the same, my website is also helenrennervik.com. And on Instagram, I'm coaching with Helen.
Okay.
And reach out to me. Yeah.
Okay. Got it. And then I'm just going to put a little note here on the screen. So that's a good place to find you on LinkedIn. And then you mentioned also on Instagram.
Yeah.
And then what was your website again?
helenrennervik.com. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I'll put that on the screen. And I wanted to thank you so much for your time, because this was really interesting. And I really appreciate the insight that you gave us on, true storytelling about our lives and how it can really overcome. I mean, you went through such a challenge, and you wrote a book about it, and that book is now on Amazon.
And it has some good exercises in there, that you don't have to have cancer to use it. You can use it during this time too. I have one story that is called Trouble Tree that I used to tell my son, and that could be for grown-ups too. And there are many. I try to share a lot of exercises in there when you have overwhelm, what can you do? So, there's always help out there. You just have to reach out and ask for it and be the best version of yourself. That's, if it's not today, be that better version of yourself tomorrow.
Love that. Well, we'll leave it there, and I will take that as inspiration. And I look forward to connecting on LinkedIn and to share more of our stories.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much, Helen.